Oh, lovely. 2 days off. Let's get these curtains closed. Oh, what's sunlight in the day? Look at that. Let's watch some TV, have some fun. Peace and quiet. Right, let's see what we've got. No, I don't think I want to watch Jimmy Savile. American barbecue. Yeah. Let's watch that.
It usually takes about 8 to 10 hours. We're going to get in there, and then we get a sandwich. I'm like a...
Hiya.
What's he doing here?
I told you, staying.
What? No, you didn't. You didn't tell me.
Yes, I did.
When did you tell me?
Told you twice.
Oh, well, there you go. You didn't tell me 3 times. Of course I didn't remember he's going to stay. Oh, he better behave himself. Alright. Better behave. Hello there, YouTube. Liam on a mountain. Back again with a new video. This time, something a little bit different. How to wild camp. Basically, we've all found our reason why we want to go wild camping. You may not have found yours yet. Mine's pretty obvious. Yeah. So, today's video, I'm going to run you through step by step how I approach going to do a wild camp and actually doing the wild camp. So we'll start from the essentials you need, what you're going to take with you as extras, and stuff you might not need but you might want to take with you, and then obviously weather forecasts, planning your route, knowing where you're going, and parking, etc, etc. So let's start this after the intro. Right, so basics. Here's what you definitely need if you're going to go wild camping. So the first thing you need is a big bag. Otherwise you're just going to have to carry it by hand or in some Tesco's or whatever supermarket shopping bag you use. So let's just get a bag, shall we? So here I have an Osprey bag. I used to have a cheaper one from Mountain Warehouse, 55 litre, but it wasn't comfortable on my back. I like the air vents on these, so my back don't get too sweaty. Always a bonus. So, Ruck 65. Why did I choose this bag? Well, because I wanted it. There's no particular reason. There's plenty of other choices to have, but this was my personal pick. So yeah, that's the first thing you definitely need. Number 2, you're gonna need a shelter. So, in your bag, you're gonna put yourself a tent. Now this is a nature hike tent. I won't talk too much about it, but that's what I use. You're gonna need your poles and your pegs. Basically just a shelter of some sort. You can have a bivvy, you can have a tarp, whatever you want to use. It's your preference, but yeah, you'll need that. Then thirdly, sleep system. So this is my camping mat. This is the one thing I don't think I'll ever skimp on ever again, and hopefully this will be the last time I have to buy a mat. But if anyone wants to send me any free mats, fair enough. But in all seriousness though, this excellent, really good mat, because you don't want to skip on your comfort. Basically, the last thing you want is a sleep where your back's killing in the morning. You know, you're not feeling great, you didn't get much sleep. So a mat, really important to me, and it should be important to you. And then you're gonna need a sleeping bag or a blanket of some sort. I have this Rab sleeping bag. As you can see, it looks rather large. One thing you should never do with sleeping bags is store them in the compression sacks. It messes with the insulation inside, the down, whatever you've got compacted in there, and it just ruins the ability for it to actually keep you warm. So yeah, you got to keep them loose as you can. So yeah, those actually is really all you need. But I wouldn't leave with any of this other stuff. So what else have we got? Let's run through it. So on this table is everything else I'm taking. So we'll go through that. Got some gas for your stove and your pots. So the good thing about this is like it's called a thermostat by Soto. Really good little piece of kit, to be fair. That's a little gas stand for your canister. Basically pop that on there. That keeps that in place. But this is like a nice little pot system. So this is the main pot that you'll boil your water in, and the stove compacts nicely in here, which you screw onto the top of your gas cylinder. Now obviously you're not just going to go up a mountain and boil water, so you're going to need some food. Now I personally take dehydrated meals because it's lighter and you know they're not bad. They're expensive but they're not bad. This one's just an example, chili con carne, and this is just a dessert. A spoon. Now I get a long spoon for these dehydration packs, because last thing you want is to get your knuckles full of chili con carne while you're trying to camp. Sugar, coffee, tea, whatever you want to take with you. I take 2-in-1 coffee sachets, so it's got the creamer in it, so you don't have to worry about getting milk up there with you as well. First aid kit, really important, I think. In there's a spare lighter, just in case I need to make a fire of some sort. I shouldn't make a fire, but regardless, there's a lighter in there for my stove or whatever I need to start up. Tissues, bit of hand sanitizer. So if I am up a mountain and I am near a water source, then I will take this with me, which is my water filter. Basically, I can filter the water. You probably saw it on the Easdale Tarn camp, where I can then drink or take less water up with me, which is always a bonus when you're carrying a lot of weight. Then you're going to need a head torch. Take 2, just in case one doesn't work, obviously. Power bank and a charging cable for whatever you're using. So hat, gloves, neck scarf. Got a down jacket here. Basically you want to stay warm, you don't want to get cold. This here is a little air pump for the sleeping mat. I bought this because I'm lazy, and it takes ages to fill up the bag and you don't really want to blow up a sleeping mat, especially an expensive one, with your breath, because it will damage the interior of the mat that basically has a lot of reflective materials in there, and you don't want to create any sort of bacteria in there that will, you know, go mouldy or anything like that. Waterproofs. You're definitely going to need waterproofs because you're on a mountain. Yeah. Okay. Now, you don't have to take these, but it always helps. A pillow. Now this is just a self-inflating pillow. Keeps you from breaking your neck at night if you can't sleep without a pillow. Earplugs for when it gets windy. You don't want to hear the tent flapping all night. Obviously I've got my GoPro recording equipment. A speaker. You want to listen to a podcast, watch a movie, anything like that. It's better than using your phone for the speaker. And this is just a little camping mat, which you basically fold out and you sit on it. I have a chair as well, which I try not to take in the winter because it's too cold to sit outside anyway. But yeah, that's the gear I'm taking. So let me show you how I pack it. So you're going to need your bag, obviously. And in this bag, the great thing about it, it's got a liner in there that separates the bottom compartment to the main compartment. Now the great thing about that, the reason I like using that is because I can put my tent in there and it's separated from everything else. So when I get to camp, wherever I'm pitching up, I can just open that compartment, pull it all out, put my tent up, then put my bag inside the tent so I can unpack inside. So nothing, if it is raining for instance, nothing gets absolutely piss wet through. So tent. Now I keep my tent poles and pegs separate to my bag of where the tent is, just simply because I don't want any chances of it ripping. Say like I'm putting the pole in, I don't want it snagging on any of the tent because that would be an absolute disaster. So yeah, that's as simple as that. In the bottom compartment, that's where I keep my tent. Now I can fill up this big compartment with whatever I want. Now some people think that 65 litres is overkill. I don't care. At least I've got room to put stuff in. There's a lot of lightweight campers out there. I'm not one of them. I like my comforts. So, get my sleeping bag out of this. Now, I don't put it in a compression sack anyway. I basically just stuff this into the bottom of there. Because the good thing about doing that is that fills any gaps up on the bottom, and then you can just use that as a base. See there's loads of room to put stuff in. So I'm going to use that as a base to put all my other stuff on. And the good thing is it will compress still with putting your mat in, for instance. Stick that in, push that right down. So now I'll put in all my extras. So, pillow. This is my bag full of food. So in here, I've got all my food and a rubbish bag. So I don't leave anything up there. Once I've eaten or I've drunk whatever I'm drinking, if it's in a bottle of some sort, then I will put that in there. And just stuff it in like that. Now, on the top of that, I've got the first aid kit. Because that should be the easiest thing to reach. So, see there, I've got loads of space still. So I'll just lock that up, fold that over. Et voila. So that's now packed with the essentials, if you will. So the next thing now is to fill this top pocket up with any just ancillary stuff. So my power bank, my head torches, my gloves, hat, etc, etc, water filter system, all that kind of thing. And obviously my speaker. Now obviously I'm not going to get into stupid detail here. You know all know how to pack a bag. That's just really how I like to pack my sleeping bag, tent and all that kind of thing. That's really the more important things, the bigger things to really put in there and fill those spaces. So now we're packed, we're ready to go, but we're not ready yet because we're going to need to know if we can actually camp tonight. So we're going to look at the weather, we're going to look at the route, and we're going to find out about parking. Now I already know all of this stuff already, but this is just for you. So let's go inside and have a look. Just before I do go inside, I'll just explain to you about the parking and all that kind of thing. Basically, the way I've always done it is just researched it on Google or on Facebook. There's plenty of hiking groups with wild camping groups and stuff like that. You get a good idea then of where's really a great place to camp and where isn't. I like to also do walks and hikes in places, and just if I spot something, I just mentally remember that spot in particular. Now also parking, if you can find somewhere like a lay-by overnight that you can park in overnight, where there's no rules as such about parking, that's obviously the ideal thing. If not, sometimes you will have to pay for overnight parking, but it's cheaper than an hotel. Probably not as comfortable, but it's cheaper. Right, so this is one of the forecast information you can use is MWIS, Mountain Weather Information Service. I do occasionally use this one, but I don't use it as much as I use Mountain Forecast. So we're going to the Forest of Bowland, so it's in the North Pennines. So click on here, North Pennines, and obviously Yorkshire Dales, because it's not very accurate. So here we are. This is what it will tell you is Friday the 8th of April. Very cold, mountain terrain widely frozen, including lying snow to low elevations in the highlands. Very cold, breezy on tops, local brief snow, hail, showers. Oh wow, this is sounding marvellous. North to northwesterly breeze of 15 to 25 mile an hour, strongest in the North Pennines. So we're sort of at the southern part of the North Pennines, so that's more likely going to be for the higher, more northern summits. So hopefully we should be a bit better than that. Cloud and hills, cloud base will be well elevated. Chance of free clouds on the summit, 80%. That's always nice. That means you're not going to sleep in the clouds. How cold? At 700 meters. So this one says it's -2 degrees up to 0 or 1 by the afternoon. Wind chill feeling like -10 on the tops in strongest winds. So yeah, it doesn't look amazing on there, but that's a broad picture and it's normally the worst case scenario. And then you can click on Saturday just to see what is happening on Saturday, just so you know in the morning what it's going to be like. But I like to use mountainforecast.com, mountain-forecast.com. I'm sounding like a right pillock when I say that. Basically, this, you can search for the particular mountain or hill that you want to go on to. See there, First Nate Fell. Nice load of cookies and ads there. Don't like Birkenstock. So here we go. Here's the important bit. Here's what you want to be looking at. So Friday, night clear, 15 km/h winds, and it's 1 degree. Now you can just take that at face value, but there's a little button up here you click and it opens it up larger so you can see more specifically. So if you look there, 4 PM some clouds, 15k winds, 7 PM 20k winds, and 3 degrees, 1 degree overnight. And then we'll go into Saturday. Again, the winds are staying fairly consistent and a bit more wind towards the end of the morning, but we should be off in between these times here, off the hill. But as you see, 0 degrees, -1, it looked alright there, didn't it? But then it got colder and colder, which is not a problem. We've camped in that before. It's nice and easy. Also the other thing you can click for hourly. So sometimes you get the option for this on Mountain Forecast. Fortunately, we have that, that option. I don't need any updates. So if you look there, 8 PM, it is pretty consistent, and we're not seeing any chances of rain. Of course, there is always a chance of the rain on the mountain, but it's clear sky, which means it will definitely be cold. But that's what I like to use. It's pretty simple, and it's a great indication of what your weather's going to be. Do not think that this is definitely what it's going to be like. I have made that mistake before, and I'm sure we all have. But I would definitely make sure that you are prepared for it to be worse than it is. But this is looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. It's cold, but it's still that time of year where it stays cold. And yeah, let's go for a wild camp. Right, so now we've driven to where we want to go, and we're parked up, and now we're ready to go on the walk. So my tip for you is this: if you're carrying a heavy load and you're carrying a heavy pack, try not to take the most, unless it's the only route, the most direct route. Try and take a shallower approach where you're not going as steep. That way, you're going to have a better time walking up. And the last thing you want to be doing is being absolutely piss wet through with sweat, because it was quite hard. So yeah, right, let's go. Right, so wild camping. Never trust any predictions, because as you might not be able to tell right now, it started snowing. So I'm going to get my rain cover on my bag. It's always good to have one of those. Got my waterproof jacket on. Well, because it's just snow, I shouldn't get too wet, but yeah, it's coming in thick and fast now. So I need to get up to the top as soon as I can and set up camp. Yeah, bloody snow. So on the mountains, nothing ever goes quite to plan. So it is snowing, and it is a bit more breezy than 15k, but it's not too bad. But what I'm going to do is, because we have got a bit of a breeze, there is a nice shelter up at the top of this hill, and basically we're going to use it. And the way we're going to use it is, we're going to go downwind of this this little shelter. So I'll just give you a quick showing. So that's the shelter there, and we're going to camp about here, because that should give us the best bit of protection from any of the higher winds. Let's get crouched down in here. So the first thing to do is to set up the tent. Now, setting up tents can be difficult, can be easy. It all depends on what type of tent it is. The one I've got is a freestanding tent, and the tent clips onto the poles, and the poles are on the outside of the tent, so it's really easy to set up. Now, some tents can be a bit of a pain in the arse. And my suggestion is, before you come up on a hill, before you go camping for the first time, set it up, put it down a couple of times, just so you get used to doing it, and then you know exactly what you need to do when you get to the top of a mountain. Because the last thing you want to do is get to the top of a hill, a mountain, or wherever you're camping, and the conditions aren't as nice as they say it was going to be on the weather reports. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set it up. I'm not going to show you. I'll just put it up, and then we're ready to go. So the shelter is set up. Now I'm going to put all my stuff inside, and then we're going to unpack inside because we've got a bit of snow, and we're going to practice this as though it's rain. It's just getting used to doing it in different ways. It's a lot easier to unpack with your bag outside, but we're going to do it inside. So then we're going to get out that wind. Right. So we're in the tent. I'll close the doors. Good thing about this, it's got a good vestibule space, so I can put my bag outside once I'm finished. But we're going to unpack now. So I've got my food stuff, my rubbish bag, which I'll just put up in here for now. Bed, thermals, we'll get changed into those later on, and sleeping bag. So I'll just shove the sleeping bag in the corner there, and then what I'll do is I'll get my little pump out for my bed. You know, it's looking sunny now outside. Still a bit of snow around, but yeah, timing. Right, so just grab this bag out here. There we are. Right, so everything that we're not using go back in the bag. Not using the med kit, not using my gloves. I'm just using that. The food and stuff can go back in the bag. Thermals can go back in the bag. And my recording equipment. Right, there we go. Right, so roll this bed out now. It's quite a big bed, this, so it is a bit of a pain in the arse to fit in this this tent to pump, well, to have it pumping up while we're doing it. But come see, come ça. So now we're going to open up this valve, and we're going to put it onto the on position to pump up, and then put that on there. Really simple, this is great fun. Right, and while that's pumping up, I'll just make sure it's free to pump up, but I'm not going to be pedantic about it. You know how to pump up a bed, well, I'm assuming you do. You just put air in it. So yeah, let this pump up, and I'll see you when it's pumped up. So yeah, bed's up, sleeping bag, put the sleeping bag down. I think I'm just gonna pop outside now because it's no longer snowing. Yeah, and the sun's out. Great. So there's a lot of options when it comes to tents. You've got tents like this, which are dome tents, and this particular one has got a vestibule on each side, and a vestibule is just this area outside of the inner tent, and it's good for storing your bag, your shoes, stuff like that, that can be kept outside of the tent itself. And then you've got all sorts of different other tents that you can actually choose from. This one's a 2-man. Now, if you are thinking of wild camping, and you think, oh, I don't need 2-man, just a 1-man tent, don't do it. 1-man tents are very small. You know, you've got to think about where you're going to store your gear and stuff like that. Some 1-man tents are spacious, some aren't. Some are just like coffins. Whereas the good thing about having a 2-man is it's more like a 1.5-man. I mean, me and the missus have camped in this on campsites or whatever, but I'll be honest with you, it's very cosy for a 2-person in a 2-man tent. So I would just say, if you're on your own, just get a 2-man. It's much easier. and they don't weigh that much more anyway. Right, so we're all camping now. We're camping, we're set up. What's next? Well, it's entirely up to you. If you fancy a brew, you can brew up. You know, if you're hungry after your trek and you want to eat something, go ahead and eat. I've just been outside taking some pictures. You know, the good stuff. And yeah, it's just a waiting game now for the morning. No, I'm kidding. It's great, just that peace and quiet, no one around, and just relax. You know, yeah. You can do this with your mates as well, I suppose. You can go camping with your mates. But yeah, I think that is really all it is for camp. For when you've set up, you set up your tent, you set up your mat, you set up your sleeping bag. You've got all your other bits and bats, which I'm sure you'll know what to do with, and then keep yourself entertained. So the snow has stopped. It stopped quite a while ago. The sun is out nicely now. We've got a bit of blue sky, what was forecast. So I'm just waiting for sunset now, so I can get some nice sunset pickies, and hopefully they're good. Hopefully there's a decent sunset. So now that we're set up, I think I'm gonna have a nice camp. So I shall see you in the morning for the next steps or whatever we're gonna do next for camping 101. How to camp. Yeah. Well, it's morning, and for those of you that don't know, it can get quite cold up a mountain, and today is no exception. Wow, bitterly cold, and the tent's frozen. I'll show you. Yeah. Oh, wow, it's cold. Right, so I'm going to get back in the tent and wait a bit longer for sunrise. Woke up a little bit early so I can get a sunrise in today, and it's looking good. It's looking good for a sunrise, so you never know. Right, and one of the most important things to do is to leave no trace. So what I mean by that is, where you've camped and the surrounding areas that you've used, there must be no evidence that you've been here. That way, you know, we don't get hordes of people bringing up barbecues, lighting them up, and just leaving the shit everywhere. Because we don't want that. That's not what we're after when we are camping. We're here to leave nature unaffected. So I'll just show you where I was camped. You'll be able to see because it's not frozen. So no tent pegs, no rubbish, no nothing. You take it all back with you. That's a very important thing. Always take your stuff back with you. So we're going to head back down to the car, and I'm not going to show you this. I'm going to pretty much end the video here, to be honest, because the only next step you need to know is that for basically looking after your gear. Now the sleeping bag, we're going to have to let that air out on a clothes horse or whatever you're using to dry it off with your clothes and stuff like that. We're going to open up the tent in the garden, hopefully when it's warm and sunny and not raining, because what we basically want to do, we want to dry it out because that's full of frost and it's going to be damp, and we don't want to leave it damp. And yeah, apart from that, just clean the cups up and get ready for the next bar camp. So I hope that has helped people, make you want to get out there as well, and yeah, choose your gear wisely as well. You know, you don't go out and buy the heaviest tent. You know, buy a backpacking tent. I would recommend the Cloud Peak 2 because it is a good two-person or one-person tent. I like it, I enjoy it. And don't skimp on your sleep mat. Get a decent sleeping bag. Remember, comfort ratings are a guide, not gospel. I wouldn't take any of them. I wouldn't take my sleeping bag down to -16. You know, it's fine for what we've had, like probably -5 overnight or whatever. But yeah, just enjoy yourself and don't leave a mess anywhere, and go wild camping. And finally guys, if you have any questions about wild camping or anything related to that, then leave the questions in the comment section down below and I will try and answer them. But that's it now, end of the video. If you like the video, like it, because it always helps me. Comment as well with your questions and anything else, or yeah, well done, great video, that'd be always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more content on my channel. Alright, see you later guys.